One of the few finalized builds I have for my Warlock in PvP is the Astrocyte vs Exotic Helmet that improves the Blink jump ability, but to have Blink, you have to play a Voidwalker. In 6s, I occasionally see a top tree Voidwalker, mostly because of the overcharge grenades, which are great for area denial and keeping people off flags, as well as the Slova Bomb, which has some great multi-kill potential, as well as a decent super shutdown option if you just throw it at the floor. Now, even less than top tree, I sometimes see middle tree, which has a handheld supernova grenade, which is great for replacing a shotgun in a pinch. So for people who really like using sniper rifles but still want a close quarters option, it's not a bad subclass, and the super is even decent, and if you run it with burst glide, you can chase down top tree Dawn Blades because you have a similar movement speed. And finally, the subclass that I see the absolute least out of the Voidwalkers is bottom tree, the Devour one. You consume a grenade to proc Devour, and then for a few seconds, whenever you get a kill, Devour resets, and your health refills completely. But it's not an instant process. It still takes a second for your full health to kick in. So remember back when Forsaken was about to launch, I made a prediction among my friend group that Voidwalker, specifically bottom tree, would be the top performing subclass because of Devour. I thought that with the addition of special weapons, Devour would run rampant with players who could use a special weapon better than anybody else could use a primary. The problem with that thought is that it turns out other people can use special weapons just as effectively, because they're pretty easy to use. It also turned out that Devour wasn't the best way to accomplish this goal. One-Eyed Mask did every job better, and Wormhusk Crown did this specific job of getting your health back on demand. Sure, you could argue that Devour can reproc itself, and that's excellent for 6s, which is why it's my go-to make a weapon review subclass, but think about it in terms of elimination. Typically, you use Devour or Wormhusk to undo a mistake, to essentially Uno reverse card your way into victory, because if you're weak, the enemy pushes in trying to secure that kill, but when they turn the corner, you have full health way faster than you're supposed to. And that's all you need it for. You don't need it for the follow-up kills, because once the first person drops, the other two fall like dominoes. And with Wormhusk, the cooldown's rapid enough and the pacing of elimination plays out to where you probably have Wormhusk for the second and third engagement anyway. Now, even with all this being said, I still think Devour is one of the most high skill ceiling setups, especially with Blink, and there's a reason that you don't see it often. It's because it's hard to do. I am using this Astrocyte verse in the background to lead the push and just disrupt the enemy while trying to stay in safety with blinking between cover. By being a thorn in their side, I am taking enemy fire, I'm taking enemy attention, and I'm reversing all that by staying in cover for just a second while I proc Devour. And then when my teammate's there to soften them up, I can pick up an instant kill with the shotgun or start spinning up Tommy's Matchbook. Yeah, I still haven't mentioned the auto rifle I'm using. That's an exotic auto rifle, my third favorite exotic in the game. And with 600 RPM auto rifles being nerfed in the future, you're probably going to see this one and Suros Regime a lot more in the future. Tommy's Matchbook is amazing because it gives accurate hip fire, and the benefits of that is your movement isn't slowed because you're not aiming down sights, and of course, your radar's up, and your field of view is wider. The benefits outweigh the negative, which is your opponent appears a little bit bigger when you aim down sights, but if you're decent at aiming, which kind of goes in tandem with the skill ceiling of the subclass, this can be a magical setup if you put the practice into it. Which is precisely why you don't see this subclass represented too much in the wild. It takes a degree of startup skill, and there is a degree of risk and reward that comes with it, so you have to have extreme confidence in your ability to play to make this effective. I do think some buffs can be applied to this subclass to make it overall better for all involved. One off the top of the head would be making it so that the Devour animation activates a little bit quicker. And the same thing could be said about the Nova Bomb, either slight blast radius increase or make the activation slightly quicker to work better as a counter super. Because as it stands now, I can barely even kill a Guardian with this thing, let alone a super, because of how fast the mobility is. By the time that toss animation starts, a Hunter has either Stompy jump backwards, or a Warlock has activated Double Dash and is across the map right now. It could even be balanced into a conditional effect like Stormcaller's Transcendence. by having all of your abilities charged, your Nova Bomb gets a 10% blast radius increase, something like that. And that about wraps up the video. Pretty much made this one just to talk about an underused subclass that I don't see very often and my approach to playing it, as well as talking about some buffs. So let me know in the comment section below if this is working out for you or how you run it differently. See you in the next one.